Hello and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all living your best lives, reading all the things, reading literally everything. I hope you're reading right now while you're watching this. Actually, I hope you don't. I hope you're taking a little reading break, tuning in, and then you'll get back to your book after watching this video. Today, I'm going to be talking about books that I should have hated but ended up loving. I ended up in the love boat, in the love territory, in the love zone. These are books where I feel like they make me look like a hypocrite because of the fact that I will harshly judge other books for the same reason I love these books. Bestie, things aren't adding up here. The equations aren't working. Something's not right. But I just can't help myself. Sometimes I just don't want to make sense at all. Sometimes books may have elements that I hate in it, but they're just done well. I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. What are some books that you were set up to hate? Like you went into them thinking, I'm probably gonna hate this, but then you came out of it loving it. Let's get to my list. Let's go. The first book we've got here, Love Boat Taipei. Drama Mama, that's the new title of this book. Drama Mama. This book follows Ever, whose parents ship her off to Taiwan to learn Mandarin and also to learn more about her culture. While she dreads going, when she gets there, she ends up making friends that will last a lifetime and just having lots of life-changing experiences. This is one of the most dramatic books I've ever read, and I'm not even being dramatic saying that. Like, I'm being for real. I'm being 100% with y'all. And I lived for the drama. That was not the thing cutting ties with me with this book. If a book's got drama, don't save it for your mama. Gimme. Hand it over. I need it in the palm of my hands right now. I want to sniff it, but more importantly, I want to read it. What should have sent me into hate territory was the explosive ending. I do not like, specifically do not like explosive endings within contemporary stories. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. If we build up to an explosive ending that makes sense, I'm okay with it. But if it's an explosive ending, an explosive scene that comes out of left field and makes no sense, check me right out. Knocking you a star. Goodbye to you. I understand that oftentimes we have to have this big climax. We gotta give the reader some whiplash, make sure they're awake, reach out and slap the reader and make sure they're paying attention. And again, this is really situational for me. This is gonna make me sound even more hypocritical, but like, I don't mind a plot twist and I don't mind when we're building up to a big climax, but these things have to make sense to the story. Like, it has to be like, oh yeah, I could see why that worked in the scenario. I can see why that was included. I can see its purpose. Purpose is a big thing, folks. Purpose. If I see the purpose, I'll understand. But when it's like all calm and chill and then suddenly it's like you're running through a minefield, stepping on the mines, exploding, that's when I'm like, whoa. How did we get here again? I was just vibing. I was just chilling. I was just reading. Bam! Nonsense. You decided to catch me off guard with your nonsense. Anyway, this book has that element where there's just like this really explosive ending, and I remember reading it just being like flabbergasted. I was like, what is going on here? How? Why? Huh? That's also not the only thing that goes on in here where it's like, okay, Jesse, how do you like this book? Because this book has a love triangle, which is almost a guaranteed nar for me. Norway. Swerve yourself on out of here, bro. How did I like this one? Now I'm out here questioning myself. I think it's a good thing to question yourself. I think it's a good thing to keep yourself in check. And truth be told, I just had a lot of fun with this book. And maybe it's because I was just in the mood for a book that would fling me out of reality. And this one did that for a little while. It numbed my mind. Kept me thinking about things outside of my life. Even though, like, low-key, all the characters in this are horrible, like, they've all got issues. They all need therapy. And I still need to read the sequel and see if any of them have had therapy. Or if they're all just still twirling in chaos. That was an intrusive thought that I just, like, let fly. Like, twirling that book was not a good idea. Next up on my list, Night Film. I always forget how heavy this book is. Like, it doesn't look heavy, but it's heavy, let me tell ya. Is it arm day? Can't even tell you the last time I went to the gym. This follows the investigation of the death of this girl named Ashley, whose father is this, like, cult horror film director. There's lots of mysterious things surrounding the death of Ashley, but her death was ruled out as a suicide, and we follow this reporter who just gets wrapped up in the investigation and must know the truth. This book is super visual. It's got this, I just found a bookmark in here and I'm so confused. It says Trader's Blade on it, and it's got a list of books on the back. Oh, no way. Wow. This was when I was doing like the read 3 books and then I was able to buy a book. That's so funny. That was like the book buying ban I was on. I had this like in here. That's so random. I've got the Doldrums on here, Library of Souls, and then I never got a 3rd book. Maybe this was the 3rd book and I never wrote it down. That's so funny though. Wow, a throwback. I should try that book buying ban again at some point. Anyway, this book is super visual. It's got tons of images on the inside and graphics. It makes you feel like you are reading about a real investigation, and I really love that aspect of it. And then It also, back in the day, had an app where you could like scan things in and interact with different things. I don't think the app is still active, but that was a thing back in the day. You could like scan things from the book into the app and interact with things. It was so cool. At the time, it was like mind-blowing. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I would love this one the same if I were to read it today, but I think because it was like one of my first experiences with like a mystery thriller, I just dove in and was infatuated from the get-go. I was really into mixed media books at the time as well. I still am. I still really like when mixed media is incorporated within books, but just like the images, graphics, and the app aspect of it just what am I trying to say? It poked me? Is that what I'm trying to say? It poked me. That's right. I got poked by this book. At the time, I just remember being like, this book is groundbreaking. There's never been a book like this before. I'm quite literally obsessed. My Goodreads review is very telling of the time I read this book. This is from October 6th, 2015. Holy moly, this book was fantastic. 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 It was so good. I went through a stage where the only way I could describe my feelings for a book when I liked it was saying, it's so good. It's just so good, guys. So good. I think I'm able to explain my feelings a little bit better on books these days. A little bit better. I think the reason that it's surprising that I enjoyed this one is because I think something that I've noticed more and more about my reading life is that books that are really long-winded, not necessarily like long, big books, but books that are long-winded in terms of development of plot really freaking bother me. Like if I feel like a book is wasting my time, I'm very bothered. And again, I'm not talking about like slower paced books or long books in general. I think those things are different than like long-winded. I feel like it should not take 250 pages to get from point A to get to point B. And I feel like this book falls into that category of very long-winded. Even though I remember flying through this book, I also remember it was like work getting through it. Like I'd clock in, time would pass at a rapid pace, and I'd barely make any progress in it. I felt like I was walking through knee-deep mud. Making progress was like trying to move in this knee-deep mud. A struggle like no other. And I think looking back on it, it's a book that's too convoluted and really relies on mixed media to be its it factor. Like I feel like realistically things could have been solved in this book in a much shorter time span, but I don't think I'd fully know unless I reread this book, which I don't know if I'll ever do. Let's keep things safe here and not ruin the enjoyable reading experience that I had. I'm already ruining it a bit being like, I'd probably hate this book if I were to reread it again. Next up on my list, Wappa! The Gilded Wolves. The Gilded Wolves is a YA fantasy story, and I forgot that I was gonna have to explain it. You know, I'm not gonna explain it. I'll just say, Paris, 1800s, fantastical, found family, and a heist. That's telling enough. I feel like it's a red flag with the fact that I can't even explain this book. Like, literally, I can't explain it. I don't know how to explain it. So, let me just spit it out. Well, let me not spit, but I'll let you know why I think this one shouldn't have worked. The world building is a full-on mess. I'm 2 books in and the world doesn't make sense to me. And the best way that I can explain it is that it felt like the book forgot its structure. We've got the filling to the jelly donut, but we don't have the donut. That was supposed to be an analogy, but I don't know if it made sense. I just cannot do books where the world does not make sense to me. Like, I can be fine with a few elements here and there that don't make sense. I can let that slide easy. But if it's chaotic like this one where there are so many holes and so many things that don't add up, typically it ain't for me. But, a big old but, I really let this one slide by because the plot consumed me. And the thing that took the cake were the characters. They pulled a heist, snatched my cake, and I was smitten. Smitten? Sure. Smitten. They're the type of characters that had me overlooking all the things wrong with the world and being like, this is fine. This is fine because I have my characters, my squad. They just so easily tattooed themselves on my soul and said, we own you now, mister. And I said, this is fine, sure. Can't do much about that. That was the kind of situation. I still often think about the fact that it makes no sense that I like this one. Like, help. Why? How? But here we are. Next up on my list, The Amateurs. In this book, we follow Seneca, who gets wrapped up in a murder case that has gone cold. She desperately wants to find the killer and figure out the mystery behind this cold case, but as she begins to investigate, the killer could possibly, potentially, probably is watching her every move. I feel bad for the reason as to why I'm about to say this probably shouldn't have worked for me, but overall, I just really didn't expect to like this one because of the author themselves. This is Sarah Shepard. She wrote the Pretty Little Liars series, and I guess I immediately just kind of caged her into this like juvenile writing style. I went into this one being like, this is gonna be a teeny bopper soap opera. And I feel bad for having had that thought, because while the quality of writing definitely was not like my cup of tea per se, the plot is executed so well. Like just the way she strung everything together. Like I never was bored reading this book. I never wanted to put it down and pick something else up. I just was like in it. I was in this book. And I don't know if this is a situation where I just have not read enough mystery thrillers to like have an overall opinion on the mystery thriller genre, but I really thoroughly enjoyed this one. And it's not a book that I would necessarily like recommend like crazy, but if you're looking for just like a wild read, I would recommend The Amateurs. It's wild and it's entertaining. Obviously entertaining in a darker way because it's like a murder mystery situation, but she just executes the plot in such a fantastic way. I was so shocked. Talk about catching me right off guard. There's quite a few like intense scenes within this book, and I felt like she did a fantastic job of writing the intensity and just like making you feel the intense feels. So intense. The last book on my list is Twice Shy. In this book, we follow Maybelle, who inherits her great aunt's property, but when she gets there to investigate the home, she finds out that she's a co-inheritor with this other guy. Chaos ensues as they both have different opinions and different views as to what they want to do with the property. I know I talk about this one a lot, and I probably will talk about it a lot in the future too, so get used to it, but it was a big moment for me. Like, talk about a wake-up call. It shifted my reality and made me feel things that I didn't think I could feel. Like, giddy? Ew. Made me swoon? Gross. Got my heart dancing? Disgusting. This was my awakening in terms of being on board with romance books. I was a man overboard, treading water, trying to survive, doing my best not to drown. But this book reeled me in and pulled me on board. I read this book too for a video where I read BookTuber's worst books of 2021, and I low-key just assumed I'd hate it. I guess the lesson I learned while reading this book is that just because you've been burned time and time again by one specific genre, it doesn't mean you're never going to enjoy a book within that genre. And it's the book that got me to pick up other romance books and find new favorites within the romance genre. It's like still shocking to me that like I've read a few romance books that I like now. Like there's quite a few that I like. I'm still in shock, honestly. Consider me a romance reader now, okay? I'll claim the title. Those were 5 books that I was surprised to like. These are books that I just feel like have elements in them that I should have hated and ended up really enjoying. And also books that make me look like a hypocrite. Again, I want to hear from you guys down below in the comments. Let me know down below in the comments some books that you've read where you feel like you should have hated it, but you ended up loving it. Let me know all those books down below in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to go and hit that like button. If you want to see more bookish content from me, be sure to go and hit subscribe or go and hit that bell icon and you'll be notified every time I post new videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope your day is bright, that tomorrow is brighter. Keep reading what your heart desires, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, yo! Hand it over, hand it over, hand it over, hand it over, hand it over. It's bittersweet to think about the damage that we do, but I was only doing it with you. Now everything is broken, all the trouble that we made, but I say that I hate you with a smile on my... Oh, girl, it's you. Winded. Oh, my neighbor is out gardening and I feel like they're looking through the window. They probably can hear me too. Okay. My neighbor is blasting music and I'm hoping my microphone will prevent it from picking up. Oh my gosh.